Unforeseen consequences. The last time I heard those words was back at Black Mesa. You had just stepped into the test chamber when he whispered them in my ear. You know who I'm talking about. Gordon, there's so much I need to tell you.
Even in life, there is an end. So this is it. The days have been long, and even after all these years, I still struggle to see what the point was, what the fight was for. Last time I talked about the entirety of Half-Life 2's story, and all of the other great things within it that make it so much fun and such a memorable title after all these years. It's time to wake up and smell the ashes. Half-Life 2 is a fantastic example of how to design the perfect action shooter. It's lengthy, it has plenty of memorable moments and characters, bone-chilling dialogue at times. It's no wonder there exists so many fans of the full game. The story is cut into segments though, and for that reason I decided to split this video into 2 parts. Here, I'll be going over both episodes of Half-Life 2 and discussing the namesake of this video at the conclusion. If you haven't seen the first one for context, feel free to check it out. Or don't. I don't care. When we left off, Gordon and Alex were only a few feet away from a massive explosion within the Citadel core. G-Man interrupted prematurely, and we awaken to find that somehow Gordon is alive. He's dug out from a pile of rubble by Dog, the loyal, lovable robot. Alex reunites with him as well, and they both get in contact with Dr. Kleiner and Eli Vance again. The Citadel's core has been exposed, and therefore will inevitably cause a massive explosion capable of leveling the entire city. With very borrowed time, Gordon and Alex form a plan to travel back into the direct Citadel and slow down the process of the core's explosion. The only way inside the Citadel is to sit inside this broken van and have Dog launch us across the canyon. It's a risky effort, but Dog does it with ease. Then suddenly the van falls further down into the Citadel structure, which of course forces Alex and Gordon to find a way back up. The only weapon you're given for the entirety of the first few chapters for episode 1 is the gravity gun, but I'm not too big a fan of that. I understand that in most action-oriented games, you usually want a moment in the story to occur where the hero is weakened or at least ill-equipped to handle the situation at hand. Yes, you heard me right, it's a good thing that devs program this type of thing in a game. However, I fucking hate the amount of times you're forced to find an object capable of being grabbed with the gravity gun just to launch it at an attacking enemy over and over. Episode 1 really makes you wish you had all of the guns right at the start. I suppose then it would probably be too easy considering you do eventually get another upgrade to the gravity gun like before. Unfortunately though, this beginning segment is really the last time we get to use it. It comes in handy during this specific part when you're riding on an elevator with Alex and debris starts to fall from the ceiling. Gordon has to catch it and carefully throw it away from the platform. Okay, what Einstein came up with this though? Glass elevators? Are you fucking daft? You're just begging for someone to crack that the wrong way and kill themselves in the worst way possible. I guess Breen didn't have any OSHA violations. Everything else within the Citadel is kind of meh. To be honest, after spending so much time in this area during the last hurrah of HL2, I'm kinda sick of it. The Citadel is certainly an impressive structure, and being inside of it feels claustrophobic, scary, cold, and derelict. But that doesn't mean I wanted to go right the fuck back in. The cool thing about being inside the Citadel now is seeing these strange looking skinny creatures known as stalkers. They tamper with the equipment inside the facility and ultimately keep it on a constant lockdown. They can't physically attack Gordon, so you don't necessarily have to be afraid of them. After this, Gordon must go into the reactor core of the Citadel and activate the containment process. This is the only way to gain enough time to evacuate everyone out of the city before it's too late. You have limited space to jump or contemplate your jumps. Each and every time you hit the spacebar, your body's gonna tense up and you'll hurt yourself. Expect to die a lot here, but keep pressing the quick save key whenever you do progress. What you're supposed to do here is solve another elaborate puzzle that takes a bit of time to understand. Hopping across the containment chamber, Gordon fights off the Combine and collects the energy orbs from the machinery, causing the containment field to activate. After you've bought the city some time to evacuate, Alex discovers a file that was being protected by the Combine. Stealing it, she displays a video from Judith Mossman on the screen.
I'm fairly sure I've pinned down the location of the project. It's hard to say how much of it might have survived intact, or whether there's anything remaining that could compromise our work, if it were discovered by the Combine. We'll need to take a close look at it, of course, but I should be able to give a better opinion within a few hours. If the site is where we think it is, then it should be no more than... I'm gonna cut this short. We may have been spotted. Where the hell is she?
With this in the back of our minds, Gordon and Alex make their way out of the citadel. Using the roller mines from earlier, Alex can hack them for Gordon to pit against the soldiers. They make a valiant effort to get inside the train and escape for good. Alex notices that they're actually on a stalker car and begins to say enlightening things that lead to very disastrous events.
Thank God we're not on foot. Let's hope the worst is over. It looks like you saved our lives again.
Okay, yeah, I get it. Stop. You don't have to talk like... Oh, great.
What's
You
that?
see what happens? The train ends up derailing, and a stalker is only inches away from her. Gee, maybe you shouldn't have jinxed us with all that high positive talk you just had. They finally escape from the citadel, but are thrown into yet another graveyard full of zombies. Thankfully, you can find some guns at this point in the game, so tell that gravity gun to go fuck itself for a bit and go trigger happy. This time there's a new type of zombie called the Zombine, and they're fat, beefy, annoying little shits. They absorb a lot of damage, they can pull out a grenade before charging directly at you, and worst of all, they inspire terrible jokes like when Alex names the damn things.
That's like a zombine, right? Zombine, get it? Okay.
It's another seemingly endless race to the finish line, and it only gets more onerous when it's revealed that Gordon and Alex have to uphold their positions while zombies lunge at them in the dark. The best way you can see is to light a flare or ignite a zombie and let the flames illuminate your shots. I just barely made it as the zombies were eager to throw an explosive barrel in my fucking face. Then we arose to the surface only to find it's been demolished since the collapse of the Citadel's core. Alex and Gordon eventually regroup with Barney, who is escorting the last of the civilians out of City 17 to the train yard, where they will board a train and get the hell out of Dodge. Gordon has to run back and forth a total of 4 times, fighting off Combine soldiers, an APC, and a superfluity of drones dropping mines. It's not too hard, but it can be frustrating having to do the same tedious thing a few times. Not nearly as frustrating as the next segment though. A Strider appears out of nowhere to surprise attack Gordon. You're unable to progress until the Strider is dead, but it's way easier said than done. He has a special laser beam weapon that does massive damage even if you're just within range of it. You have to get to the rocket ammunition crate on the other side of the yard and kill that fucking Strider for good. Once this is done, Gordon and Alex finally board their train and make haste to escape the Citadel's inevitable collapse. Suddenly, the Citadel begins to glow white and the strength from the explosion is enough to bring the very earth up before our eyes. The screen fades to white, and Gordon passes out.
I couldn't be prouder if you were my own son.
When Gordon wakes up, he finds that he somehow survived what happened. Crawling out of the train wreckage, he meets up with Alex again.
Gordon? Oh, Gordon, thank God you're okay.
She so gracefully gives us the gravity gun back. Hooray. Almost like I didn't just spend an entire fucking chapter using it already. The Citadel has been completely ravaged by the core's explosion. While staring at it, a portal storm occurs which finishes off what little remained of the bridge. There's a mine right underneath that leads to an outpost occupied by rebels, known as White Forest. Alex manages to contact her father and Kleiner.
Alex! My goodness! Is that really you?
Yes, and Gordon too. We're okay. We made it out of City 17.
Alex, thank God. I can hardly believe it.
Don't worry, Dad, we're fine. But something really strange is happening with the Citadel.
Oh yes, we've been monitoring the situation. The raw discharge of the meltdown has been focused into a coherent beam of portal energy.
It's the Combine. They're trying to open another gateway.
Yes, what you're seeing is the infancy of a super portal. If it attains full strength,
It'll be the 7-hour war all over again.
Control room. They were feeding huge volumes of data directly into the core destruction sequence.
Magnuson, did you hear that? I'll bet it's the Combine portal code.
Yes, I'm not deaf.
Gordon's introduced to Dr. Magnuson, who I think is a pretty underrated character. He's very crude, coarse, and ill-mannered when it comes to authority. He's insistent on Gordon and Alex making it back to them so they can decode the file on the drive that Alex stole from the Citadel. Also, the file has the code for the Combine overworld. Figured I should mention that. Gordon approaches another train yard with a strange noise not far in the distance. It almost feels like they're being watched. Once you open the gate, Gordon crawls back through the building, only to witness Alex get impaled by this strange large creature and knocks down a piece of the building, rendering Gordon incapacitated. The very first time I played this, I only thought the worst. Mouth agape, I began to panic over the idea of Alex Vance dying. You really feel this connection with her along the crazy ride you've been on, and to see her so easily defeated is both heart-wrenching and scary. A Vortigaunt arrives just in time to save the two of them. He explains to Gordon that he can't properly heal Alex on his own and requires a safe passage to his kin who can help. After displacing a crowbar jamming some gears, Gordon falls deeper into the mine and is separated from the Vort. Once again, you'll be put up against quite a few threats down in the mines, like these new acid antlions that suck the life out of everything fun. They spew large chunks of acid at Gordon, and it's not so easy to dodge. If you're too close to them when you kill them, they'll explode and cover you in the same shit. There's also a ton of antlion grubs down here, which can be squished to gain some quick health pellets. Gordon follows the caverns and ends up accidentally meeting with the Vortigaunt and his two rebel guards, Griggs and Sheckley. These two are basically what you get when you remove one of the Three Stooges. They're a very funny duo that often counteract one another and complement each other during combat. It's unfortunate this is the only time you really see them.
Nice one, Sheckley! You see a bug on me, how about you try to get it off next time? I didn't see it. Yeah, no, sure. They're only like 5 feet tall.
At this part, we just have to help Griggs and Sheckley defend the Vortigaunt while he helps take care of Alex. The game makes up for it by giving the player an equal match. After surviving a few waves on your own, suddenly one of the tunnels gets 3 lights, indicating the amount of antlions heading towards us. Instead, the Vortigaunts arrived to help save Alex. This entire segment is my absolute favorite in the whole series. Every tunnel lights up at maximum threat level, and you'll be forced to defend Alex from an army of antlions, while this badass music plays in the background. And to those who say, Half-Life isn't all that good, obviously you've never made it this far, or maybe you were just blind when you played and didn't see this, because holy shit, this is awesome.
Shit! The whole place is lit up! Grab a towel!
Finally, they're all dead, and with that out of the way, the Vort asks Gordon to guide him deeper into the antlion's nest where he can recover a pristine antlion larval extract. This will be used to save Alex's life. Unfortunately, the antlion guardian at this segment doesn't make it any easier, and the catacombs can be a fucking maze if you've never been inside them before. As far as I'm aware, you can't kill the antlion guardian while you're in the tunnels. You can briefly damage him and cause him to slow down, but he will consistently charge after Gordon. The trick is to move fast, stay low, and run for a hole if you see it. After a lot of obstacles, Gordon gets the elevator to work and the Vortigaunt reunites with him. They proceed to gather the larval extract, returning immediately to Alex upstairs.
Dr. Freeman.
Uh-oh. It's him again. This time, the G-Man demands that Gordon brings Alex Vance to White Forest safely, but refuses to elaborate why, as usual. He then whispers into her ear and says,
When you see your father, relay these words. Prepare for unforeseen consequences.
What the fuck does that mean, you creepy bastard? Anyways, Alex comes to and she's in perfect health once again. The rebels congratulate you and the dynamic duo head off once again to find a vehicle that will get them to White Forest in time, as the Combine have initiated a direct march towards the northern rebel base. The Vortigaunt shows Gordon and Alex where they can get a car. Once you retrieve it, you're well on your way. But not before another fucking helicopter chases after you, and the car gets destroyed. Once you put the chopper in the dirt for good, the rebels offer to fix up your car, but you you have to deactivate an automatic gun turret in the junkyard before you can proceed. Blah blah blah, more fucking fighting. Blow them to Kingdom Come, and you'll get to White Forest in no time. We see a pretty epic battle between Dog and a Strider. Finally, we're back to White Forest where the rest of our characters await our arrival. We're taken down into the missile silo of the base where Magnuson asks Gordon to help him figure out what's causing the false alarms. Turns out the base is actually being attacked by the Combine. Once again, I skipped majority of this chapter because it's nothing more than a bunch of fighting mumbo jumbo. This is when Alex says that infamous quote that we all know. It's interesting because Eli actually talks to Gordon openly about the G-Man, and he's the only character in the series who really does. I really like this moment, and in fact, it gave me goosebumps almost every single time I've played it.
Unforeseen consequences. The last time I heard those words was back at Black Mesa. You had just stepped into the test chamber when he whispered them in my ear. You know who I'm talking about. Our mutual friend. When he brought in that crystal, I knew I should have aborted that damn test, but I didn't. The whole world went to hell that day. And now he's using my little girl, putting words in her mouth. God damn it. I should have known when he rescued her it was for his own damn reasons. Gordon, there's so much I need to tell you. Between us, we may finally have a chance of,
What? What? A chance at
Here
what?
you go.
What? A chance at what?
All right.
there's nothing, honey.
All right, people, change of plans.
The Combine begin to reinstate an attack on the silo, launching Striders from all directions to take care of the rocket. Yeah, sorry, there's a rocket at White Forest that the rebels are using to destroy the Combine portal once and for all. Magnuson, however, has the perfect counterattack against the Striders, the Magnuson device. Gordon can launch these using the zero-point energy manipulator and switching to a firearm to shoot it, causing the device to explode. It's way easier said than done though, and anyone who grew up playing this game knows how difficult this part is to beat. They launch a massive wave of Striders at you, and I believe the final number is 12, but I could be wrong. That's a lot of fucking Striders for one player. Of course, I went as fucking crazy during this segment as I did when I was younger. The hunters do a good job of delaying you from completing the objective, and they absorb a lot of damage. If you stick to your guns and grind it out as best as you possibly can, you will succeed in defending White Forest and restoring faith in humanity. The rebels are praising and applauding Gordon. The main characters even give him the opportunity to launch the rocket himself. They stand together and anticipate the countdown.
3, 2, 1.
Yeah!
We did it!
We sure did.
Control myself.
Yes!
Fantastic.
Deep breath.
Then, Gordon and Alex are sent off to try and find Judith aboard the ship known as the Borealis. Before leaving, Kleiner relays one last thing beforehand. It is his last uttered line in the whole game.
Aren't you gonna see us off?
Just as soon as this is wrapped up, I wouldn't dream of letting you go without a proper goodbye.
How fucking ironic. Eli stops Gordon before the rocket hits the portal and shares a very close heart-to-heart with him. This scene is just... God damn, just watch.
Gordon, thanks for everything you've done. For Alex, for all of us. I couldn't be prouder if you were my own son. Now when you get back, we've got a lot to talk about.
Come on!
Pulls right on the heartstrings, it does. The group sees the portal disappear completely after the rocket successfully makes its way into the sky and explodes. Alex and Gordon make their way to the hangar and prepare for their trip, discussing... Oh no, what the fuck? What's happening? The advisors show up to ruin everything. Eli desperately begs Gordon and Alex to destroy the ship rather than use it like Kleiner had suggested earlier, then practically commits suicide by attacking the advisor. He's lifted into the air and murdered before your very eyes. Dog shows up in the nick of time to save everyone, only to show Gordon collapse on the floor. Alex clutches onto her lifeless father's body as Dog cowers in fear behind her, and the screen fades to black.
No. Oh my god. Dad. No. Don't leave me.
that's it. The game is over. Wait, what?
That's it? That was the end of the game? It's over? So it doesn't end? There's no ending? It just cuts itself short? Just like that, it's over. Half-Life 2 hasn't really gone anywhere since its release, and the ending to this day, as far as I'm aware, is still pretty concrete. I haven't played Half-Life Alyx, but I did get curious and looked up the ending and all the gameplay segments and stuff, just out of curiosity to see if I would enjoy the game for $60. But from what I can tell, Half-Life Alyx was simply designed for the sake of teasing the current fan base that still exists for Half-Life. Why make a prequel and change the timeline if we're not gonna get any sort of interaction with Gordon Freeman again? Why is the story not going to continue? And I hate to sound like one of those boomers online that is constantly complaining about something that could never be fixed. Like, have you ever hurt yourself really bad on accident? Like, a few years ago, I accidentally jabbed my finger with a kitchen knife when I was trying to cut duct tape. Immediately after I had done that, I had thought instantly, oh my god, I wish I didn't do that. And that's exactly how you feel after you beat Half-Life 2. You wish you didn't, because there's nowhere to go from here. The game is over, and this is the ending. Case in point. That doesn't mean that Half-Life 2 is any less of a fun, great time, though. The experience overall, especially playing in the boots of Gordon Freeman, is fantastic, and to this day, still one of my favorites. I only wish that we could get a proper ending. It sucks that we never did. But, like all good things, time passes by and things change. I was gonna write an ending for this video, but I don't really have one.
So you're telling me we never get an explanation as to what happens? We don't see what Gordon does next or how he stops the Combine? Does he even stop them for good? And what about Mossman? What is the Borealis? Even after long since the game's release, the fans beg and plead for the finale to the series just for the sake of getting closure behind Gordon's story. I used to be a huge supporter of finishing the games, but I've had a lot of time to think since then, and I don't give a shit anymore. At this point, Gabe Newell himself could upload a YouTube video of the trailer for Half-Life 3, and I'd still shake my head in disbelief. There's no way the game will ever be concluded, period. We're left with a really fun action shooter, colorful and memorable characters, dynamic audio with a badass soundtrack, outstanding visuals for its time, interesting enemies and enemy designs, recognizable sound effects, impressive physics, but no ending. Well, can we at least know what was supposed to happen to Gordon? The only thing that I've read was an article on Wikipedia. Supposedly, the story for Half-Life Episode 3, or Half-Life 3, whatever, sees Gordon Freeman and the Lambda Resistance travel to the Arctic to board the Borealis, where they confront a myriad of alternate versions of themselves from different timelines. That sounds really crazy. The group seizes control of the Borealis and sets it on a collision course with the heart of the Combine Empire. They rig it to self-destruct upon impact, annihilating the Combine's home planet and crippling their forces. But the explosion isn't strong enough to destroy the Combine or their Dyson sphere. Alex is abducted by the G-Man, and apparently no other context is given. Then, just before the Borealis explodes, Gordon is rescued by the Vortigaunts and transported into the far future, with most of the Resistance dead and the success of their uprising left uncertain? Jesus, what the fuck? That sounds even worse than what we got. I just don't think it would be right to end the series with a massive slap in the face against humanity. After all the fucking work we've gone through as Gordon Freeman, through every rendition, every mod, every game, every storyline, I was expecting something way more forgiving. But no. This ending is the equivalent of a long relationship coming to a screeching halt, and my heart aches every time I play it. It makes me question what the overall message was to us fans. Are we to expect something new at some point, or should we accept that this is how the story ends? In a complete fucking waste. It could have been so much more. I'm aware of how Half-Life Alyx ends, and believe me, it's kinda lazy. Redoing the ending and changing the timeline is just teasing the current fanbase even further and offering nothing of value. I read something a long time ago from one of the devs that said, Gordon's story is not over, as there is much more to tell. But come on guys, we've waited so fucking long, I'd have a better chance of digging through guinea pig shit and finding a piece of hay. And the most fucked up part is they actively ignore any questions involving such a topic. I understand that after a while you'd probably want to move on to other projects, and hearing about the same title you've created over and over would get annoying. In my opinion though, to blatantly disregard the fan base and deny them the due diligence of a phenomenal conclusion to the story we've wanted to see end for over 20 plus years is downright criminal. God damn it. So, that was Half-Life 2. Despite it never having a true ending, it is still one of the most classic games I've ever owned in my life. It might not be the greatest game, but it's certainly one of my favorites. I try not to let the ending ruin the overall experience because, like I said, the story is good enough to hold it all together. Plus, the combat, controls, puzzles, enemy variety, combine variants, the locations, secret locations, they're all what make Half-Life 2 a seriously fun time. If you can look past the ending, which a lot of people do, you'll agree that it deserves to be exalted for the rest of our lives. It's mostly open to interpretation, though I am a bit curious myself as to why they don't just hunker down and create the next great Half-Life title. I've seen recently that there's a Half-Life 2 RTX edition being released soon, and that's pretty exciting for anyone who has an RTX card, but that's probably the closest thing we're gonna get to an updated version of the story, let alone a sequel. Gordon's legacy has lived on through the internet, and many people have treated the series with nothing but the utmost respect and an amazing fan base that only wishes they could have gotten a proper conclusion. Without it, Half-Life 2 is still an all-time high, and there's no game quite like it. I just wish it had an ending. Hey, it's Gordon Freeman. Why don't you talk? You think you're better than me, you fucking asshole?